Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you know, my name is Jennifer and you are going to be stepping back in time with me. Today we are going to step back to 1965. I am going to do a makeup tutorial with you that is from a book that I recently acquired, and I'm very excited about this. I just got my hair done, if you haven't noticed, and it's got a sort of 60s style to it. I actually snagged this hairstyle from Scarlett Johansson's character from The Black Widow. I'll flash a photo of that now. When I was a little less vintage, people used to tell me that I looked like her. I know right now I have no makeup on. I'm sorry, Scarlett, if people would think that. Hopefully that will change soon. I'm gonna have my makeup done. You'll see that in just a little while when we do the tutorial. We're going to take a trip up to my bathroom. I know you've been in there before, so let's go. I'm looking forward to traveling back in time with you once again. Hello everyone, we are in my bathroom. I know you recognize this place, but it's a different angle. And I know the last time that we were here, we had a little misadventure with my tripod situation. I know I said that I did not have a tripod at that point, but I did. It was up in the attic. It was this tripod that my husband had bought for me before I launched this channel, one of the ring light tripods. I just didn't pull it out. You would think that rocket scientist here, who has these two beautiful ring lights, would actually have used them. This is the one that I broke out for this video. And this one hasn't even been opened yet. We got these back in like May or June when I was developing this YouTube channel. I've had these for a while. I think that I would use them instead of sticking my camera inside of my medicine cabinet. So since we're a little low budget here, sorry about that. Since we're a little low budget here, and geez, I better not put this on top of the hair tool. We're having all sorts of mix-ups here. I don't have a tripod right now that is functioning correctly. So you are actually in my medicine cabinet watching all this fun as I get my hair done. Sometimes I do these things a little backwards, so you just bear with me. I'm gonna put on this dress from the 1960s once I have my makeup done. This dress is from B. Altman & Company. I actually know the person who this belonged to. It was my mother's dear friend. Her name was Jean. She was a lovely lady. It had been hers and her sister's, and Jean passed it on to my mother somehow. B. Altman was a well-known department store that existed, and this one said 5th Avenue, New York. So I will be trying this on once my makeup is done, and I'm looking forward to that. And this one fits, not like the one from the 80s. Dress fits, but it doesn't fit totally. I haven't told you yet, I know you know a little bit about me, that I work full-time as a copywriter. Before I did that and before I got into writing professionally, I was at home with my children for a while. I've always loved makeup. Since the time I learned that a comb and doing your hair was a good thing, got into makeup after my grandmother bought me. And that, by the way, this is her robe that I'm wearing. And in the last video, you may have seen a robe that was hanging on the door where the prom dresses were. And that was hers too. My grandmother and I were very close. That robe was vintage because she died in 1996. So that robe was probably from the 80s and was much older, and she gave it to me in the 80s when I was very, very young. That and a nightgown. I'm not gonna dare try on the nightgown though, because that is a size 32 vintage size. I have a hard time squeezing in to a size 36 vintage. That's not gonna work. In the meantime, This is the Avon Beauty Book. Now getting back to my career stuff, when my kids were small, it was when my son was less than a year old, I became a Mary Kay consultant. I've always loved makeup, like I started to mention, and I just makeup, and sorry for the cat meowing in the background. Hey over there, Achilles. Oh, sorry, Ben. Okay, let me get back to this. Like I mentioned, I've really loved makeup since I was a very young person. Probably around 12 was when I started getting into it. When I was young, they had this thing in the 80s that was the Cosmetique Makeup Club, so she had me subscribe to that. I could spend hours going to CVS or any of the other stores, even the grocery stores, and looking at makeups. No wonder that I followed a bit of a career path as a Mary Kay consultant. I had known about Mary Kay products because the company was founded in 1963. My friend's aunt was a Mary Kay consultant. In the 90s, while I was working in corporate, I had a temp in my office who asked to do a makeover with me, and she came to my house, and then they spoke to me about the career opportunity with Mary Kay. It wasn't for me at that time. I decided to give it a go when my son was 9 months old, and I was a Mary Kay consultant on and off for many years. I taught skincare classes. That's what they call it, is teaching. As you know, my background is also in teaching. So I did teach skincare and color cosmetic applications. This book, though, this past summer, I was at a garage sale and a woman was selling this, and this was her mother's, who was an Avon rep. If you don't know, Avon has been in business for many, many years. In 1965, Avon was in business then 79 years. They started in the 1800s. This was an exciting find for me, this book, because I knew I was starting this YouTube channel, but also with my background as a Mary Kay consultant, I was super stoked to get this, and it was $7. And it meant something to this woman whose mom was a representative. For people who are younger, I can still consider myself young. People that were younger watching this channel, you were not around at the time when we used to have door-to-door reps, and that's something that with time, reps stopped being able to go to people's homes door-to-door because of laws for soliciting, including municipal and federal laws, and it became more rare. And I think it was also more of a rare thing because of the climate, because it wasn't necessarily safe going into houses cold calling people that you didn't know. For me as a Mary Kay consultant, I would sometimes make cold phone calls, but I would have warm leads from people that I knew in those days that said, hey, maybe you should call my friend, because I think they would enjoy a pampering session. That was always something that we offered. It was not only teaching about applying the makeup, it was also doing a satin hands treatment. I enjoy it. Really, this kind of miraculous feeling on your hands. I thought that this would be something really fun to do and to go over this with you. Something that I learned and something that this book focuses on is skincare. And it's really important to take good care of your skin inside and out. I'm not a doctor. If you have questions about this, you want to seek a dermatologist's advice, but just some basics. You just need to take good care of your skin, and that includes not just cleansing your skin, but taking care of it from within, and just taking care of yourself, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water. For me, I also take skincare vitamins, and that has helped me along the way. It's interesting though to see what they thought was good skincare back then, because things have changed. There is this hexachlorophene hexachlorophene in here, hexachlorophene, and it was something that I looked up. It's an antibacterial product. It's no longer in use because it was found actually to be dangerous. But they talk about estrogen hormones that would be applied directly to the skin. Hello, you get to hear my dog there. Vitamins A and D were something that was really important. And royal jelly as well was something that was used a lot in the skincare back then. But they do talk a lot about skincare and the different skincare types. So whatever you do, and this was something that I learned as a consultant myself when I was with Mary Kay, it's important to cleanse, exfoliate, tone, and hydrate. And then the last step would be putting on your foundation makeup. Now, before you ever start any kind of a makeup application, you need to make sure that your skin is clean. Before I start any of the makeup applications, I'll have to say that there's no paid promotion in here. I'll just give a little disclaimer about that. And I'm just going to be talking about some of the products that I use. As I mentioned, I was a Mary Kay rep. I have not been for years. Right now, I'm not even using the product. I don't have a loyalty per se to any particular brand of cosmetics, except for like a few. Like, I'm willing to experiment, but when I was a consultant, that was like big no-no. Like, you just stuck with your own brand, obviously, because that's what you had in your store. Because I had a full store, so to speak, of all sorts of products from skincare to color cosmetics. But since I've started watching vintage, I started using Pond's cold cream, because that is something that all of these vintage girls on the channels are using, and it has made just a remarkable change in my skincare. So that's something that I use to take off my makeup, and even in the mornings when I'm taking my shower, I use that. I also use this particular product. My skin has gotten really dry. Amazingly, I used to have very oily skin, and this might not be a routine for somebody whose skin is shall we say, like combination. Somebody with combination skin, somebody with oily skin likely would not want to be using this routine. As I've gotten more vintage, I've noticed that my skin has become drier. So I've been using stuff that has been giving it hydration. Can tell you the Pond's made a huge difference for me in upping my hydration. And I started using that, I think, around April, and it's made such a huge difference. Let's get back to applying our makeup and now that we've talked a little bit about skincare. Now that we've talked about skincare and what Avon was recommending back then, we're gonna get into putting on our makeup, and I will work on some of that with you. I did some basics in this routine myself before doing this video. My skin has already been cleansed and moisturized, so we are not gonna go there. The art of becoming beautiful. And they start with foundations. That is the first step. They talk about the different types of foundations that were available back then. They've got cake foundation. There's one that's called, that was called Dude Kiss. That was a moisturizing product that was worn under foundation. Creamy liquids, creams. They're like kind of the lighter tone and tint foundations. And they talk about putting on the foundations and how to apply that. Now, many people use these little beauty blotters, beauty blenders, whatever you guys call them now. It's something that is newer to me. It wasn't something, I mean, they always had foundation sponges when I was younger, but this was something, these blender things, is something that is not from my time. I also talk about concealers. What's interesting, and I usually do my concealer first and then my foundation second. They have it reversed in this book. they talk first about concealer. I'm sorry, they talk first about foundations, but then they talk about putting on a concealer afterwards. I have this one called Clear and Cover, which is a double duty product, especially formulated to conceal complexion flaws, blemishes, discolorations. And the Clean and Cover was a product that I had also seen that has an antiseptic in there, which isn't necessarily the best advice for applying something, because they're talking about dark circles, applying an antiseptic to under your eyes. That is advice I would leave behind in 1965, truthfully. Well, we are going to start then with our foundation. This is a foundation, and pardon the condition, it's getting to the bottom of the bottle. I love this foundation, BH Liquid Foundation Naturally Flawless, that I've been using for quite a while. I'd gotten it from Kohl's, but now that Kohl's has Sephora in there, they ended up selling out, and I have to buy some more because I am running low. This foundation is Fair Golden is the shade, and what you do is you start applying foundation to your cheeks and your nose, and you just start applying dots of it. I like to put foundation on my eyelids too, because I think it gives a little base to your it gives a little base to your eye products that you're putting on your eyes, on your eyelids. And it mattifies them too. I have, even though my skin is getting drier, I tend to have an issue with getting oiliness on my eyelids still, which is still a good thing. It's actually not a bad thing to have an oily complexion because it does hydrate your skin, and I think it's helped to keep my skin looking pretty preserved throughout these years. It's been a blessing to me. It was a curse when I was a teenager, but not now. We're gonna blend this down with her. You wanna blend downward because that's another way that your skin doesn't get tugged. Now, in this day and age, most people would be using, hello Tula, that's my Tula again. Obviously you hear her. In this day and age, people, there must be somebody walking their dog. Hello, girl. In this day and age, most people are using the beauty blenders. Well, I have this Il Makiage concealer that I had gotten through the mail. It was something that I gave them all this information about my skin tone, and then from there they came up with that. It's shade, it doesn't even have the name on there anymore. I lost the box. There was a Lancome shade of concealer that I tested at the local Sephora, and they don't have it in stock right now. And I plan to do that because that's a better match for me than this one. But we're gonna dot that. You probably noticed I have a little blemish. A lot of the concealers back then were what they were like stick concealers. They weren't like liquid ones, really. You didn't see them as much. When I was a kid, I remember my mom used those stick concealers like the Max Factor Erase. I'm gonna pat this. This is something my daughter always gets on me about because she said, Mom, you rub this into your face instead of patting, which she's right, I probably do. I'm a little self-conscious about my dark circles. She tells me that it's something she actually likes, and shame on me. I was a consultant for all these years, and I am not using my ring finger, which the ring finger is what you use to blend your makeup. I'm gonna put a second little layer here because I'm just not 100% satisfied with that. I do a very simple makeup routine that only takes me a few minutes during the week, I don't even put on eyeshadow. I just do everything quickly. I put a little blush over my brow bone. I put on a little eyeliner, a little mascara. I have on my foundation and whatnot, but it's very, very simple. While my breakfast is cooking, I usually fry up some eggs and I do my routine. I took a little break to wash my hands because that's another thing. You want to make sure your hands are clean, or basically your tools. But I also have this wonderful book and I don't want to smudge it up with makeup. It's, you know, vintage, so we have to be careful with it. And I will. After skincare, and this book goes very in depth with that. If you can find one of these anywhere, it's the Avon Beauty Book. It's a very cool thing. The next step is rouge. We didn't call it rouge. It was funny. There was a YouTube video that I saw with a woman who was doing an 80s makeup tutorial, and she was calling what we would call blusher. She was calling it rouge, which we never used the word rouge. It was more of an antiquated term, even when I was younger. They talk about liquid rouge, cake rouge, and natural radiance. It's a special creamy tube rouge. They didn't really do powders then, it seems. It was more liquid. The color cake is probably the closest you would have gotten, I think, to a powder. We'll try this one. I've had this for a while and I really love it. It's by Butter. It's the Glazin Blush Gelée. And for me, you might notice I have a very round face. For a round or wide face, keep rouge fairly close to nose. This de-emphasizes the width of the face, blend at sharp vertical angles to the outer corner of the eye to give an illusion of length. Have an oval face, you dot it at the height of your cheekbone around the center of your, under the center of your eye. And if you've got a long and narrow face, it should blend from the cheekbone to the hairline. I don't normally do my my blush like this. I don't know, it's just not my thing. Also, because I'm following tips for vintage girls, more like current day tips, but we're gonna try this. It's gotta be like almost a line according to this. I guess for them, they felt it was more like face slimming. It's what we need. I need, according to this thing, is more face slimming. This is what we're gonna do, and we'll follow it. For history's sake, guys, does anybody else notice? I don't know if you do this, but for me, when I'm putting on makeup, I get to see the inside of my mouth. I don't know why. Just a habit that I've had. I'm gonna put on a little more. I'll try to keep my mouth shut. I don't know if this makes as much of a slimming difference on my face, but this is what we're going to do. I am back. I need to wash my hands again, of course. This will probably be the last time I have to do that. I'm not saying not ever. Of course, I'm gonna wash them again, but just not for this video. Well, they're talking about natural blush. It's called New Complexion Color Highlight Natural Blush. This is when they started, I guess, talking about blush. It was a big deal, I guess, at that stage. I'm going to take a little blush then. This is e.l.f. blush that I have, and we'll apply some of this in the same fashion over my cheeks, give it a little extra color. So I have to, because I'm most likely gonna blend this with my hands. Oh, it's not liquid, I might be able to get away with it. And this was something that I had seen in some of the beauty books, was layering products. So using a blush that was a rouge, like a liquidy one, and then putting the powder then on top. And the next step is, speaking of powder, loose face powder. And Cody has been around for eons. This is another one that is a vintage one. This is a neutral color. This could be used, I think, for most any complexions. This has been around since 1935. So this was around in 1965. And this would be that you use a clean cotton puff, press as much powder into it as you can, and then beginning press it over the entire surface of the face and everything except the eyelids. And then you allow it to set and then dust it off with the reverse side. Let's do that. I don't really wear powder that much anymore because it's just because of my skin being drier, but I will for some occasions. And this has a very, it's got a scent to it, I'll just say. If you are sensitive to fragrance, you probably shouldn't apply this, but that's up to you. I can't really use this per se to remove extra. I was thinking it depends. Hello, Tula. My dog is going bananas because we have people that walk by. Good girl. All right, my dog is here. Hopefully we're not gonna see interruptions. Hey, come here. Stop. Want to come over and say hello to the nice people on YouTube? Yeah, you hear that little tail. All right, we're going to eyeshadow next. And like a lot of things in my life, this is a hot mess. This is the James Charles palette that is my daughter's. It's gotten beaten up a little bit over the years. We've had it maybe about 2 years, I think. And we are going to pick, you can see it's got some pretty bright colors, but we're not going into that direction because that's just not where we're going. At this point, we're trying to achieve a more natural look. And so it says here that fashion from this day dictates softer lines detailed in a fluid look, hair straighter, bent rather than curled, the smaller head unteased, and neat and shining is the look. Hats are high and round, important but not bulky. So eye makeup is a new, less bold approach, but still dramatic and important. In the 1950s, it was more bold, and then in the 60s, it started to mellow. Since we've also talked about unicorns on this channel, rainbows and unicorns, this is another palette that we have. I believe in unicorns, and this is another one. That one, we had a little mishap with that palette, but I'm gonna use one of the colors. It's still crumbling. I'm gonna use this fantasy color because of the way that they talk about applying the makeup. And there was a little bit of a shimmer in the look. I'll show you. You can see this woman's appearance here, and this is sort of the look I'm striving for. It's got a teeny bit of a shimmer there, and it's basically a strip that goes at the base of your lash line on both sides that is more color in the corner, and then it has like a fade. That's what the look we're going to go for. Start with the one color. And of course my mouth is open. And the other one. A little more in the corners, so we have more of that fade. There we go. Eyeshadows were also cream. There were some powder sticks, the eyeshadow wand. This was, of course, we're using a powder one. And they said that there were really no rigid rules, but that they come in a wide range of shade. And they said that it's more effective and dramatic when it harmonizes with costume color. Urge your customers to begin with one basic shade, then add colors. A basic shade might be a color to match the eyes. And it's, or turquoise, as they said, is flattering to every eye. Luminous adds a touch of evening sparkle. We're not gonna do turquoise. turquoise, guys. I think we're gonna skip that one. But they said that eyeshadow is blended on the upper lid. Close one eye, apply the narrow strip of shadow from the stick with the brush, or with a fingertip. We're not gonna do the fingertip, as you know. And then you go from the inner corner of the eye, and then next you blend the fingertip or brush and over the eyelid. It should be darkest next to the lash and lighter as it moves out over the lid. The effect of color gives sparkle and emphasis. And then 2 shades can be used, one next to the lash and another over the rest of the lid. To set the eye beautifully, use a neutral shade in the area between the eyelid and the brow bone. Use the neutral shade in the area between the eyelid and the brow bone. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll use like a light pink there. This is from the James Charles palette. Let's write that. I think that's somewhat neutral. It depends. Some people consider pink a neutral shade. It depends on your skin tone, because I have a fair skin tone, so if you have a bronze skin tone, this may not be considered a neutral. You have to play around with what works best for you. We're going to put a little mid-tone in there too, because that seems to be what the model is wearing, is a mid-tone. I think based on this, it needs to be maybe a smidge darker. We'll try one of the James Charles colors. All right, moving right along here. We talk about eyebrows and the importance of eyebrows. I use Pixie for myself on a regular basis for my eyebrows. I like this particular color. It's the blondish shade that I use, the natural blonde, and that's what I've been using. And they talk about the automatic refillable ones, and then it says draw eyelid taut with index finger and draw a soft line from inner to outer corner along, I'm sorry, that's eyeliner pencil. For eyebrows, you want to shape them and make sure they're plucked and well groomed. And then the brow should begin at a line even with the corner of the eye socket, extending in a gentle arch 1/4 inch beyond the outer quarter of the socket. And so I'm going to put a little add to my brow. As women become more vintage, sometimes their brows become thinner. Just give myself a little brow here. Eyeliner. You draw the eyelid taut with the index with the index finger. Draw a soft line from the inner and outer of the corner along the lash line as close as possible to the lash roots. That's what I'm going to do. I'm using this Sephora Long Lasting Kohl pencil in black. So we're gonna try that. And this is I'm going to work on this actually in this mirror because this is better for me. So I'll point this down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do that in this mirror. It's better for me. It feels funny holding my index finger, and I've done that for years, but I got kind of like, we get chastised for it a little bit. Now for me, I tend to have hooded eyes, and I had somebody years ago in the Mary Kay community tell me that I had droopy dog eyes. And this was going back about 2 decades ago. Not my whole face, it was just my eyes. I didn't say that, did I? All right. I sometimes have difficulty putting on eyeliner. It just doesn't want to stay neat for me. There we go. We've got that on. I don't normally do this when I'm doing my makeup regularly, but they do recommend putting a faint line on the narrow ridge above the lower lashes. This line will appear very light, is very subtle, but it does make eyes appear larger and brighter. I don't do that because it usually drags my eyes down, but for the sake of history, folks, we will do that today. I'm just dotting this around here. Giving it a little dot. Sometimes, because even though, like I mentioned, my eyelids tend to be oily, I don't use that technique very often because my eyeliner likes to run. But we've got this. There we go. It's just super light. And with mascara, back then they had cream and cake mascara, and they recommend not applying too much. Gummy, stuck together lashes are neither attractive nor comfortable. If you use a brush, don't overload it. For a heavier application, go lashes several times and use on the upper lashes only, which is what I do. And then if mascara flakes, too much has been applied, something that they recommend is just making sure that the lashes, use mascara to cover and darken light lashes and the tips of the lashes. Darkening tips makes lashes appear longer, thicker, creates a lovely soft frame for the face. Personally, I used to do my makeup like that, where I would, and I'm using Size Up by Sephora, and I would always do that with the tips of my lashes. I'm gonna go here to my makeup mirror and just apply a little bit. I like to do I tend to like to emphasize like near the pupil to give it, like, I think it gives it a little extra sparkle. Oops, and I got a big glob. It just came out, so I gotta correct that. I don't want this to be too globby. There we go. There we are. It's looking better. Be Black Widow yet. Last step is lip color, and I am using a Revlon lip color number 750. It is Kiss Me Coral, and that was around in the 60s. Back to Marilyn Monroe. If you look at her film Something's Got to Give, that was the last film that she did, and it was not completed. She was wearing what appeared to be that color, and I absolutely love this color. Corals are really pretty, and that was something that they recommended, is that people use corals. And they talk about the benefits of wearing lipsticks, and they talk about the colors. They should complement your complexions and harmonize with costume colors. I guess that means outfits. They recommend women should have 3 basic shades: a true red, a pink, or a light tone blue red, and a yellow or a coral color. And they suggest that what you need to do is use a lip brush, which is what I've got, and then what you do is you take your little finger and you rest it on the chin and you outline your lips with it, and then take care to avoid a droop in your mouth, and then you outline your lips and start spreading in your colors. What they do say is that, and this is really interesting, the upper lip should be slightly longer than the lower. Both lips should be of equal depth, and avoid the Cupid bow of the 1920 fame and the droopy corners of the 1930s. Both create the forced artificial expression, which is very interesting because that wasn't long before that. The 20s was 40 years prior, and the 30s 30 years prior, and maybe there were still people that were doing that. We're gonna take a little bit of color. We will put it on our brush, and hopefully I'm not going to do any see, this has a beautiful coral shade. I love this color. My lips have a natural Cupid's bow, so I hope I'm not violating. And I shouldn't be talking when I'm doing this because then I'm gonna mess it up. Yeah, I am messing it up. Here we go. Go. Gotta put on more color. I'm being a little stingy. Sometimes I get sloppy with putting on my lipstick. I didn't think I would do that. That I tend to be the girl that puts on lip color at stoplights. Yeah, that's me. See, I still keep my mouth open when I'm doing my application. Yay! Much better. You can also see my nails here that I'm wearing a light and frosty polish. This was something that the Avon book had suggested. They had a color called cream in their book, as well as a color called pearl, and they mentioned that pearl should be overlaid on cream. And I know in the 60s that pink was a color that was popular. What I did was I took this Essie pink color, which is like a special, you can see natural, topless, and barefoot. So that's pretty natural color. And I took this one. Stay classy. That's a good message to have. It was this pearlescent color, and I layered the two over my nails. Hey, I am here. This is the grand reveal of me wearing this dress that was my friend Jean's, my mom's friend Jean's dress, and you can see it's beautiful when you see it on, and it's got all these gorgeous buttons. It's and very 19, what's that?
And the bow.
And this beautiful bow, that's right. We've got my wonderful, I am so grateful to my daughter, who emerges from her cave to come and tell me.
Oh my god. Okay.
The things that you do for your mother. Thank you, sweetheart. But we will take off the jacket so you can see this without the jacket and how pretty it looks as we go and we revolve on the catwalk.
Oh, hot mama. No, I'm kidding.
And the dog and the cat are fighting downstairs.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the. Stop being quiet. Hey! Hey! I get you, big.
All
okay,
right.
Continue.
Thank you again for watching and coming back to me to 1965 and trying on makeup and checking out this outfit and having my cat cry in the background. One of these days you will get to meet these cats and dogs that are making all this noise here. I hope you enjoyed this video and please subscribe. Thank you again. Bye-bye. Hey everyone. So we have returned to my bathroom. Let's get back to applying our makeup and now that we've talked a little bit about skincare. Remove extra. I was thinking it depends. Hello, Tula. Oh my God. He's going bananas because we have people that walk by. Hey! Tula! Come here! Come here! Hey, stop! Stop! Come! Come, good girl. Good girl. All right, my dog is here. Hopefully we're not gonna see interruptions. Hey! Come here!
Ben's crying too.
Thank you again for subscribing. I really enjoyed spending this time with you. I hope you learned something about makeup and applying Thank you again for subscribing and coming back to me from 1965. I hope you, thank you again for watching and coming back to me. Thank you again for watching. All right, 3, 2, 1. Dan, stop! Here's me with my Black Widow vibes. Here's me with my mom Black Widow vibes. Here's a combination mom Black Widow vibes. This is a mom with a Black Widow vibe. This is what happens when a mom tries to channel the Black Widow. This is what happens when a mom tries to channel the Black Widow. Here's me doing my Black Widow impression.
Almost tripped and died.
That's why
I got a good shot of the dishes.
Oh no, please don't tell me you got a shot of the dishes.
A little bit.
Well, we can always cut it. Here's...
Okay.
Let me do my impression.
Shut it, Ben. Shut your trap, big. Hey.
I've got my Black Widow. I've got my Black Widow look. Can I do her moves? Did I look weird?
You were looking up and it made you look like grandma.
Oh,